Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of StarCraft, where I take you through the missions and how to get the achievements. Today's mission is Echoes of the Future in the Wings of Liberty campaign, and the achievements for this mission are Echoes of the Future. Complete all mission objectives. Those objectives are reach the Nexus, bring zeratul to the overmind tendrils, zeratul must survive, and power the obelisks. Army of One. Use zeratul to kill 50 units on normal. Overmind dead body. Complete the mission in less than 20 minutes. This mission is actually pretty neat because it's one of the last missions you'll actually get to use zeratul up until you get into the Protoss campaign. And even then you only get 3 missions with them, and those are all pre-storyline missions, so you don't really get to play with zeratul after you get into the campaign, because, spoilers, he kind of dies. But in this mission, you get introduced to the new unit, the Colossi, which basically look like the War of the Worlds giant trike pod dudes. And they're about as badass as those things are. For the most part, this mission is pretty easy. You do need to set up a decent defenses at the base. So I'd say at least, 5 cannons on each side of your base, because there will be 2 pathways coming out of your base that will be attacked from. And as far as your unit composition, you can do stalkers, zealots, and when you get your robotics facility up, do Colossi. On this mission, I do miss an obelisk, but they're not that hard to get to. The main problem is you have to clear out the creeps so you can place down a pylon. What it was I was coming down to, basically the timer was coming out, and I had about 30 seconds to complete the mission, so I was like, I can either try to go put the pylon down, or I can complete the mission. That part of the mission isn't too hard to get, like I was saying, because it's literally just, once you clear out the main zerg forces that are over there, dropping a pylon down around the obelisk isn't that hard. And all you have to do is power it. Once it's powered, you get credit for powering it. You don't have to go back and try to power it again or anything like that. Now the little dude that's floating over zeratul's head, that is called an observer. And observers act as detectors, so you can see like buried zerg or cloaked units. As far as cloaked units go, you don't get cloaked units that often in the zerg forces, but what they do is they have what's called burrow, which is where they dig underground, and that allows them to basically stay hidden from everything. And they can be a real pain in the butt, because if you're not paying attention, they can easily, like if it's roaches, they have the ability to move while burrowed, and they can slip by, your like, say you had bunkers or something out there, they can move right underneath those bunkers and come straight into the middle of your base. It's a real annoying tactic that people use in, like, the main, in multiplayer and stuff like that. Now, as far as this goes, in the beginning of the mission, while you're building up your forces, you're going to use zeratul to just kind of move out and draw enemies towards, away from detectors, so you can kill them with zeratul. And basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get at least 50 kills with zeratul, because that's part of the achievement. Now, when you send your probes out, you will need to defend them, because they aren't very good at defending themselves, and they will die really easy. But every once in a while, you'll find these buildings. Like, this is a abandoned robotics facility, and once you place that pylon down, once it activates, it'll activate that building. And when it activates, you can use the robotics facility as if you built it yourself and start producing units. There we go. Alright. And as you can see, I need to build a factory for my robotics facility so I can actually start building colossi. Which you can do that, or you can kind of keep scouting around, because you will find factories and robotic facilities scattered throughout this map. So also, the timer up in the top right corner basically lets you know when the next attack comes, because basically right now the Zerg are basically defending their overmind, which they used to have this hive mind that controlled them, and it was defeated in the last game. And because it was defeated in the last game, like, the Zerg have like swarmed around its corpse and are still trying to protect it. But they don't understand what they're doing, so they're what's called a frenzy or feral Zerg. So they don't really have a leader or anything like that, so they're just kind of on their own, you know, killing anything that gets too close to the Overmind's corpse. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring Zeratul in there, because of the Protoss have a psionic they're basically psionic energy in crystalline form, so they can read, you know, minds and stuff like that. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to get up to the Overmind tendrils and basically find out what the Overmind knew about this prophecy that he discovered it in the very beginning of this crystal. Now, at first, it's not too hard. The waves that they send at you won't be too bad. Eventually, they will start sending Nidus worms, which are basically tunneling Zerg, and they act as like basic elevators or teleport points from point A to point B on the map. And basically, if you don't get rid of the Nidus worm, they'll keep spitting out Zerg units, because basically the way they work is it's like taking a straw and poking it through like one end of the map and then bringing it up on the other. As long as you have that straw open, you can instantly warp from one end of that tube to the other. And that's the way the Nidus worms work. Is so if you leave the Nidus worm head up at your base, it'll just keep spitting out. It'll keep allowing Zerg to be spit out at your base. Now right up here is a quick expansion. If you're fast about it, you can go ahead and move in here and take everything down, and then it only takes about like 2 or 3 minutes for the Crete to leave this place once you've killed all the Zerg. But once you've killed all the Zerg, you can place down your expansion and everything like that. So you can come in here and kind of set up your second expansion. Also, that right there is the obelisk that was right there down in the bottom right. There's that one down there, and then there's one up over kind of like directly northwest of this expansion. It'll be next to a couple of other abandoned buildings. And I think the reason I forgot to get it was because I'd been playing the other campaigns for so long. So it's just one of those things like, normally when you're playing the campaign, only Wings of Liberty required you to finish all of the bonus objectives and everything to get the main achievement for completing the mission. So, like, I'd finished Heart of the Swarm and I'd finished Legacy of the Void, and neither one of those had required me to get the bonus objectives. So when I played this mission, I kind of forgot about it, and then I looked at it at the end of the mission and was like, oh, oops. But yeah, as you can see, the creep disappears over time, so it doesn't take that long before you can actually use that base. And if you need to, that right there can be used as a second expansion. And like normal, when you power these buildings up, every time you power one, it has units that are locked inside the warp. So when you power it up, it'll warp in units for you. Trying to go with a gate strategy and setting up a good defense. Although the positioning of everything is kind of yeah, see, that is a Nidus worm. And basically the way those work is they work as teleports for Zerg units from point A to point B on the map. Yeah, always kind of try to use Zeratul as a scout, because not only does he have the cloak ability, but he does have a stun, so if he does run into detection, he can stop it for a minute, and plus you need him to get all those kills so he can get the achievement. Yeah, try to make sure you grab all the resource mineral pet drops you can, because they help out a lot, because Colossi are actually really expensive units. They cost like 300 minerals and 200 gas, so they are probably one of the more expensive units out of the Protoss. The only thing that gets more expensive than them is the carriers. And technically, I guess you could say the mothership does cost more, but that works in stages, because the way the mothership works, it's a basic multiplayer only thing, and what it is you must first summon the mothership core, and then you can upgrade the mothership core into the mothership. And I believe summoning the mothership core costs like 100 minerals and 100 gas, and then to upgrade it costs another 300 and 300. But as far as normal units that are usually available across all plays, the carrier is going to be your most expensive unit, because it costs, I believe, 350 for minerals and 250 for gas. And I think it's the most expensive unit that's out there. Well, aside from the mothership core, but I think it's the most expensive unit that is in the game of all three factions. At least to date. I don't, yeah. That is one thing I'm kind of sad that they don't do for multiplayer or co-op, is they don't have, motherships available. So none of the Protoss have the ability to summon in a mothership. And I don't think they're going to have a commander that can do it. Well, they have Alarak, who has a call-down ability. Kind of like Kerrigan's ability in the campaign to call down a Leviathan. Alarak can call down a mothership with Void Rays, but they have a timed life. So after that time, they'll disappear. But as far as making a mothership, you can't really do that in this game. In this campaign, or anything like that. Or in the co-op missions. Also, the one thing I like better about the campaign, the Protoss campaign versus the regular, the Protoss missions you're playing now, is they have better defensive units in the Protoss campaign and stuff like that. Like in the Protoss campaign, you not only get the cannon, but you get what's called a shield battery, which basically acts like a stationary heal for your buildings, your defensive buildings and everything like that. And then they get what's called the Kylon disruptor or something like that. And it's basically a single target cannon that deals massive damage. And it's a long range one at that. So it's not very good to use against Zerg, but when you're dealing with other like heavy units or other Protoss, it is really good to use against them. And with the shield battery, they can last for a very long time. Right here, I was starting to panic because I was running out of time on the mission. And right where you saw that red, right where the red warning is, that's where the other obelisk is. So all you have to do is go up that way. There's not going to be a lot of Zerg forces in there, so you just got to clear them out, and then once you cleared them out, just drop a pylon next to it, and I believe that's where the other robotics factory is, and the obelisk is, and I believe it also has a warp gate over there, so you get a 3-for-1 on that deal. It's just I was coming down to about 30 seconds in this mission, and I was like, I need to get this done. And again, like I said, I was playing Legacy of the Void and stuff like that, and forgot that I had to get all the bonus achievements, or bonus objectives, so... Well guys, this has been Echoes of the Future. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all did, give me a like, a comment, and a share down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.